Hey guys, it's Yvette, and I am here starting week 1 of our Fort Worth Fabric Studio Ultimate Picnic Mystery Quilt. So, who's ready to start? I know you're all ready to start because you guys were begging to start like 3 weeks ago. Okay, so here are the fabrics that we are going to be using in week 1 for the blocks that we are going to make this week. So, guys, let's just get started because you have just seen me cut all these fabrics and now we're ready to start. So number 1, or the first block that we're going to make, is the half square triangle star block. We are going to use 4 of A and 4 of D of the 4-inch squares. So that's these guys. And we're taking 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, and is that 4? 4. Okay, 4 of those, and then I'm going to put my D back on there so I don't forget. And then 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And now the rest of them, I'm just going to sort of scooch over a little bit. Okay. So now we're going to take these and we are going to put them right sides together. So if I might actually draw on that side, because y'all know I draw lines. You do not have to draw lines if you don't want to draw lines. I just prefer that to using a 1/4 inch foot. And if you prefer a 1/4 inch foot, please use a 1/4 inch foot. This little sew along is not to try to make you do everything I do. If you're looking for tips and you happen to pick something up, that's awesome. I appreciate it. I'm sure you appreciate it. And otherwise, you can just watch some parts. So, the way that we're going to do these is we are going to draw a line right down the diagonal center, and then we are going to, unless you don't want to draw a line. So we'll have a line down the diagonal center, and then you, on a 1/4 inch from either side, you will draw a line that will be your sew lines, and you will sew on those 2 lines and then cut up the middle after you're done. So let me go ahead and just draw those lines. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew down this line and then down this line, and then when we're done sewing those seam allowances, we will cut right down the middle, and that will separate them and give us 2 half square triangles. Okay. Okay, so we have sewed these seam allowances, and now I'm ready to trim, or actually cut them in half. So I am going to lay my ruler down with my 1/4 inch mark on one of the seam allowances, either one, and then I'm going to trim right down the middle. I don't know why I keep saying trim. I'm going to separate them right down the middle. Y'all keep hearing that noise outside. Jim has been sanding for like weeks. He's gonna sit there and sand all day. Okay. So now I am going to go and press these. I am going to press them open because that's my preference. And then I will come back and we are going to trim the blocks to 3-inch squares. Okay, so I have finished pressing my half square triangles open and I'm ready to trim them down to 3 inches square. And a recommendation is that we use a block lock ruler. It's not absolutely necessary, but it does help. Okay, so let's see if I remember this correctly, because I'm one of those people that if I don't use it like constantly, it is out of my head and I forget how to do it. But I'm pretty sure that with the block lock ruler, you want to take your, and of course I pressed open. I did not, so the block lock ruler is probably not going to work for me because I pressed open. I just wasn't thinking. But the way that it would work, and I will do it on the next ones so that you can see, because I know that there's more than just these half square triangles. At least I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So on the next batch, I will definitely press a different way and I'll show you exactly how to use it. But what you do is you would have, when you press to one side, you kind of have a lip like right down the middle. Now the reason I choose to press open is because I like for my seams to lay flatter, but I understand the reason why we would want to use a block lock, because I have done these squares without and I've done them with, and I guarantee you guys I prefer to do it with. So I wish I had pressed it the other way, but that's okay. What I'll do is I'll take this opportunity to show you what it is like if you have to press or if you have to use a regular ruler, and then how much better it is when you use a block lock. Okay, so for now I'm going to set this aside, and I do have another ruler. Do I want to use a different one? I think I'm going to try this one. Okay, because what I'll have is at least I will have this line like right down the middle, so I can put that line from my ruler right down my seam. So when I do that, then what I want to do is, now with a block lock it would be a lot easier, but what I'm trying to do is I'm going to make each one of these 3 inches square. And as you can see, if we put the ruler down on the whole thing, we're at like 3 3/4 almost, right? So this is one of the best things I love about Fort Worth Fabric Studio, is they always have us make our squares a little bit bigger so that there's something to trim and we know that our blocks are going to be the correct size. I love that, because mine notoriously come out small. I mean, seriously, I don't know why. Okay, so what you would do is you want to divide how much is coming off from each side. You don't want to just go all the way to 3 down here and then trim, because you want to make sure that all of your sides are even and everything. So I'm going to put mine at like, 3 1/4, something like that. It really doesn't matter as long as it's bigger than 3, so that you have something to cut off the other side. Okay, so once I have it right there, right down the middle, and my square is still bigger than 3, I'm just going to trim these 2 sides off. Okay, so I'll take those And then I'm going to just turn it around. And I'm going to, again, put the line right down the middle. But now what I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm getting the edges of the 3 all the way down so that when we finish trimming this, we will have a 3-inch square. And there you have it. So I will do the others. And then next time I do these, I will definitely make sure I press to one side so that we can demonstrate the block lock ruler. Okay, so now here we are on step 2 for the star block, and we are going to take these half square triangle blocks and we are going to take another 4 of the A squares. Oh, the bigger ones, sorry. Oh no, wait, 3 by 3. Nope, it is the smaller ones. It's the smaller ones. I think there are just 4 here. Okay, yes, we have those 4. And then we're also going to take 4 G squares, which are these guys. And we have those 4. And now we're going to make 4 star block sections as shown. Okay, so the D fabric is the gingham. So we're going to have one like this, one like this, and then a G and an A. All right, and we're going to make 4 of these, so we'll have 4 looking just like this. And the way that we're going to put them together is we are going to turn them right sides together. We will draw a 1/4 inch seam right down these 2, or if you don't draw a seam, you can just go and sew it with your 1/4 inch foot. And then after we get those sewn, we'll come back and then we're going to have 2 pieces that we will flip one on top of the other and sew across as well. We will get to that after we sew these pieces on. Okay, so we have all of these joined together in the center squares, and now we just want to flip one on top of the other so that we can sew this part together to make a square. So we will just fold that down right sides together on each one. And if you are like me and you draw a seam line, you will draw it here. If not, that's where you are going to sew with your 1/4 inch foot. Okay, so we are back with these 4 squares, and I'll be honest, I haven't even tried to measure it yet. I know that they're supposed to finish at 5.5 inches square, and this always scares the bejesus out of me. I don't know why, except that mine are never correct. So let's see here. Oh my goodness. Yep, look, it's short by like, and how does that happen? I don't know. I haven't the slightest idea. Because everything was, I don't know. Okay, it doesn't even matter. It'll be fine. It's going to be lovely. It's going to be fine. Okay, so this is going to be part of the star block, but we're going to put them to the side for just a second. I'm not even going to worry about how nothing matches. Not at all. Okay, so I'm going to take these little A rectangles. This is the next part. And we are going to take 2 of those. Okay. And okay, so we're taking 2 of those. Let me put this back together. And then we're taking 1J. And we're making a sashing strip. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to sew this little square right in the middle of there. And so then we'll have a sash. So let me just sew that up and we'll come right back. Okay, so here we have our middle sash. And what we're going to want to do first is let's sort of arrange how we need to sew everything together to get the star block. We're going to put the star together like so. And that, let's kind of scooch them a little bit more. Okay, so the sash is going to go in the middle. And then we're going to have 1 here and 1 here. And then we're going to take 2 of the A strips. And we're going to sew them down the middle here. Okay, so obviously the first thing we need to do, I don't know if it's really that obvious to you, but it's obvious to me, so I'm just going to share it with you. We're going to have to sew these together first, and then once we have them into 3 rows, then we will sew them together here and here. So I'm going to go and sew these together. Basically, it's going to be the same way we've done everything else. We are going to put these right sides together, sew a seam allowance there. Then once we have that pressed out, then we're going to take the other one, right sides together, and put a seam there. And we'll do the same thing on the bottom. And once I have that done, I'll come back and then we will talk about how we're going to put all 3 of these together. Okay, so I have combined these 3 pieces to make 1, and same on the top. So now all we need to do is combine these 3 rows together to make them one big block. So I'm going to take the middle one, the middle row, and I'm going to turn it right sides together, whether the top or the bottom, it really doesn't matter which. And then I'm going to sew a seam allowance at 1/4 inch right there. Then I will press that piece and come back and do the same with this piece by folding it right sides together and then making a stitch here. As soon as I'm done with that block, I'll be right back and we have another block to make. Okay guys, I love it. Look how pretty this star block is. Oh my goodness, it's so cute. I love it. So this one's done. Star block done. Now we need to make our second half square triangle block, and that is the pinwheel block. So I'm going to take this and just scooch it over for a minute, or a few minutes actually. Okay, so on the pinwheel block, what we need to do is we are going to make 8 of the half square triangles again, and what we're going to be using is these fabrics and these fabrics. So let's see. Just going to, oops, I don't want to put that in there. Like, hello. Okay, so we're going to take all of these. We're going to end up with 8, and then they're going to, hold on, make sure. 8 AD 4. Yeah, okay, so all together, after we get done with all of the sewing and the cutting and then the pressing and making them 3 by 3, we're going to have 16 all together, okay, which means we're going to do 8 stacks. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then we're going to take all the rest of our A's, and these are all of the 4-inch square blocks that we had from before, and we're going to put that one there. Let's just put them right sides together, because that's how they're going to be sewn anyway. So we'll just take one of each. And then just like in the first one, our first block, we are going to draw basically 3 lines down the middle. So we're going to have one diagonal line directly down the middle, and then we're going to have a seam sewn 1/4 inch to the right of that line and 1/4 inch to the left of that line. And then we'll come back and we will cut straight down the middle line that we had to make 2 half square triangles. So we're going to go ahead and do that. If you have, just do that in the method that you prefer. I am personally going to draw the lines like I always do, and as soon as I am done sewing those, I will come back and we will cut them down the middle. Okay, so I have done my stitch lines up and down, and now I'm going to cut them all right down the middle. Okay, so now I'm going to take these and I'm going to go and press them, and instead of pressing them open, this time I'm going to press toward the darker fabric, and then as soon as I'm done pressing, I'll come back and we will use that block lock ruler. Okay, so I have pressed all of these toward the darker fabric, and now we are going to use the block lock to take these down to 3-inch squares. Okay, so we are going to take our square, and the fabric is pressed that way. As you can see, it's toward the gingham. And I'm going to take, and I think that the block lock logo, I'm just going to go out on a limb here and think that I'm remembering this correctly. It goes toward the bottom right of whatever you're doing. Let me see. What? I think that's right. Okay. So then I'm going to pull this down. Now, since we're going to 3 inches, again, you still want to have more than 3 inches in every direction, because you want to trim this way and this way. That way you have a nice uniform, everything's cut, you know, type of thing. So I am going to come, you know, towards down to a little more than like 3.5. And see how it kind of like butts up against it? It's not going to move past that because of this little lip that you have created by pressing to one side. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Pull it down to the left. And then you just press down on it lightly and trim. And basically it takes away having to get it exactly in the middle and all that kind of stuff. So that's how it does make your work faster for sure. And so now you want to keep it in the same place, right? It's still going to butt up against that seam, but now you'll pull it down the other way. And now we want to actually go to the 3-inch here and here, so that the square is going to be 3 inches, both sides. Okay, and then you just trim. All right, so off we go. Okay, so we have all of these half square triangles ready, and they have been cut down to 3 inches square. And now we are going to use these blocks to make some block sections. So here's how they want us to do it. Okay, let's see, which one is E? I don't remember what E was. It's one of the blues. That's all I know. Where do I have that list? Hold on one sec. Let's see. E is the diamonds. Okay, so we're going to take the E's and we're going to put them like this and like this, because we're going to make 2 of these. So that's 1 and that's 2. And we are going to take the D, which is the gingham, and we're going to put that like this and then like this. Okay, that's 1 square. We're going to do the same thing right here for that one. Okay, so we have 2 of those. 1, I can move my coffee, and 2. And then the other 2 are going to be like this. We're going to have F and F, oops, like this. We'll do the same thing up here. And then we're going to take this guy and we're going to have him be like this. And like that. And again, same thing. Okay, so we are going to sew all of this together to make the squares just like you see them here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn these right sides together. Okay, and if you mark your seams, then you're going to mark them here and here. And if you don't, you just want to make sure that these sides on the right are the ones that you are passing under your 1/4 inch foot. So I'm going to do all of this sewing and then I'll be back to sew the top to the bottom. Okay, so I have the rows all connected, and now I just need to connect the top to the bottoms. So I'm just going to fold this over, right sides together. And now I am going to have a 1/4 inch seam allowance here, 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 and here. As soon as I have those made, I will come back and we will move on to the next step. Okay guys, so here they are, the two, well there are 4 because I have 2 of each, and those are finished. So I'm just going to set them aside for just a bit. We are now going to we're going to make sashing again. So we're going to take this guy and we are going to sew him between those 2 guys. And as soon as I have those all together, and also, nope, not yet. Okay, so I'm just going to sew these together and then I'll come back. Okay, so I have all of the rows done, and now all I need to do is attach this one up here. And then once I do that and press it back, then I'm going to come and take this one and attach it there. So the next time you come back, I'm going to have both blocks ready for next week. Okay, here are the 2 final blocks. We have the pinwheel block, and then this one was called the star block. So star block, pinwheel block, I think they came out beautifully. I love them, and I can't wait to see yours, especially for the people who are using their own fabric. I can't wait to see how yours are going to come out. So please share those pictures. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click on the subscribe button and don't forget to ring that bell so you know every time I have a brand new video. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching.